Does anybody else have a great deal of difficulty getting excited about goals? More specifically, excited about the picture of you achieving the goal, having done all of the hard work at the end, because that's supposed to be the motivation to keep going. And I find that it takes a lot of effort just to imagine, just to get myself into that picture where I've achieved the thing and I'm really happy about it. And it takes so much energy, in fact, that I don't want to do it. Like, I would rather just focus on the consistent daily tasks that need to be done. And I don't know, in the present moment, I might go as far as to say as like the carrot and the stick, the metaphor. Do you want the carrot or the stick? The positive reinforcement or the negative reinforcement? I think they're both weaker than no reinforcement, like not trying to motivate yourself at all and just creating a consistent habit and doing what you know you need to do. I think the motivation from envisioning something extraordinary for yourself, you only get that once at the beginning when you first get excited about something new, and it's natural and it can't really be manufactured. I mean, it can be, like, I can get myself psyched up to do things, but it almost, like I said, it takes more energy to get excited than it does to just do the work. And again, I find myself looking at my life and thinking, man, that's boring, but it's effective. And I saw a quote this morning that was really simple and profound. It was, make big goals, enjoy little things. And it hit me because that's where I'm at right now. I've naturally found myself dreaming huge, but just like loving the day to day, like loving a good meal, loving a nice drive, loving a beautiful sunset. Like, that's all that you need each day. And you can keep your goals as big as you want. You can dream as crazy as you like, but that's no longer the compass. It's no longer the motivation. It's no longer anything. It's almost secondary. Primarily, I'm just looking at, how can I enjoy this moment? How can I enjoy this day? How can I enjoy my life? And even that, I'm really systematic. That's the thing that makes me feel like I'm boring sometimes. Like, this systematic personality that I have, where I create such rigid routines and structures to achieve the results that I want. And I make these patterns and behaviors and habits, and I just reproduce the same pattern over and over again, consciously, deliberately, as like the most deliberate that you can imagine. So I'm eating the same foods. I wear the same clothes. There's no decision making if it's inefficient. Like, I'm so systematic, and that's what makes me feel boring. But it's also what's creating all of the freedom and the abundance that allows me to do what I really want to do. And it's going to create the most extraordinary future with way more options on the table and way more possibilities. So the systematic thing works. And the roller coaster emotional way of being that I used to love, it doesn't work. Like, getting really psyched up about something, it never lasts. It's so short lived. It's like pouring fuel on a fire. Like, the fuel burns instantly, pretty much, and then you're left with whatever you were already trying to burn, like the more long lasting fuel that was already there. The fuel didn't actually, like, it maybe increased the heat for a second. It didn't really benefit the fire in the long term at all. Like, you're left with the exact same picture that you had before. It could be worse. Like, you could have just like burned the foundational fuel faster, or in a negative way. So sometimes even, especially in my past, excitement has been detrimental. I used to say a lot in the journals, like, I'm really elevated. That was my favorite word, and I like being elevated. I still like being elevated to this day. And that just means, to me, like, you're in that state where your mind is buzzing, you're really motivated, you're in like a um, high possibility state where anything could happen. And it's amazing for creativity, and it's amazing for motivation, and it's like you can get so much done, but it costs you focus. Like, if you get really elevated and you don't have a goal, like you don't have anywhere to spend that elevated energy before you get elevated, generally what tends to happen is you get very impulsive and you start making a lot of knee-jerk decisions, like just making decisions with no thought. Like, it's just pure like intuition, like unbridled intuition and impulse, and no rationality. So the way that I first learned to deal with that is like have all my rational thoughts prior to the elevation, and that way I would have a to-do list for my elevated self when inevitably I would find myself. The elevated for me is like kind of synonymous to manic when people talk about like a manic state, but I wanted to give it a more empowering label. So when I would get elevated, I had a to-do list for the future, so that I would actually undertake something that would be beneficial to me in the long run. That might be helpful for anybody who you know, deals with those highs and lows and the ups and downs. But there's a boring, systematic way to deal with elevation, and in a simple sentence, it is: don't get elevated. Just maintain balance, learn balance, would be my advice to anybody who struggles with this cycle of being elevated and then depressed, and elevated and then depressed. And that means it's all simple, boring stuff. Sleep. Like, whatever you have to do, don't tell me that you can't sleep well, like that you have insomnia, or like make up any of these stories about how you can't sleep. Find a way. Find out, start researching, eat different foods, like take supplements. I would say don't medicate if you can help it for any reason. Like, medication is a short-term solution. It's never a true solution. Unless you've got like some kind of debilitating illness that without the medication you cannot function, or without the medication you're going to die. Like, if you have a condition or you're struggling with something, that you can use natural exercise, sleep, nutrition, and all of these holistic approaches to deal with, like, you're better off doing that, because the medication is actually just going to add more side effects and issues, and then you're going to be dealing with the issues that you already had, plus the issues from the medication. And I'm sure there was some famous quote from somebody that was like something along the lines of, when the man takes the medication, then he has to heal from the illness and the medication. Something like that. I think it would come from like Chinese medicine, where they it's all preventative. And the story goes that it might still be true today, but you didn't pay your doctor unless you were healthy. Like, you would stop paying your doctor if you got sick, whereas in like countries where we don't have so much of a preventative approach, it's pay the doctor so that he can help you get better when you get sick. But yeah, so I guess, interestingly, I'm saying like I'm having trouble getting excited, but I don't think that getting excited is helpful. And I'm finding so much power in balance. And I was kind of getting into learn to sleep, learn to eat healthy and everything. Find balance any way that you can. And then just do what you know you need to do consistently. Have big goals, but don't depend on the goals to carry you, because what I was contemplating this morning is like, to keep myself excited, to keep myself motivated, I've been creating more and more goals because I get bored with the goals that I have. So to keep myself engaged, I just make more goals. And I was feeling really tired, and perhaps jaded, like just kind of over it. And I wanted to just have a break from it all. But when I was contemplating having a break or slowing down or changing direction, it just felt like I was just going to totally disengage, and like I needed something to stimulate me again. So I started thinking about all of this stuff. Like, I just need more balance, and I need to embrace this balance and maybe talk about it a little bit. I'm happy. I'm content. I'm at least content most of the time. This morning I just totally cleaned like my whole place top to bottom, and that felt really good. I bought some new plants. They're gonna be like purifying the air better than any man-made thing ever could. So that's another thing that feels good. I've probably spent in the last fortnight a lot more money on, myself and my self-care and making my space nice. And then that was kind of weighing on my whole wanting to set more goals and accelerate this whole process and achieve my dreams faster, because I couldn't see the results of like all my hard work because I was spending money on myself. And that's like a bit sad, really. Like, I should be able to have a month or a week where I just like totally forget about accumulating or achieving, and I can just take care of myself and enjoy life a little bit. And I was at a party on the Gold Coast in Surfers Paradise last night, and it was in one of those places where like it's glass windows in all directions, and the sun was setting and I could see it, like just the whole horizon. And in that place I was just thinking of how I want that. Like, I want to be able to be having this experience that I'm having in the present moment more frequently. And my first thoughts were like, I need to have this apartment. I need to have an apartment in Surfers Paradise that's like top floor with 270-degree vision, so I can see it pretty much all directions, and it'll be awesome. But very quickly, my new way of thinking kicked in, and I was like, it's just so much work to create and maintain that for myself. And then another part of me kicked in, and it was like, but you could make some kind of concessions and compromises. You could live with other people. And I went through this whole thing where I was imagining having this lifestyle again where it's just really cool, and it's like it feels exciting. It feels like you're on top of the world, I know that's a pun, but I thought I was kind of done with that. I thought that it wouldn't affect me anymore. I was like, because I've lived out of a swag and had nothing and let it all go, and I was really surprised like how good it felt to be in that position again, and even just pretend like this is my lifestyle. Like, I could live this way in a like beautiful apartment looking over Surfers Paradise at sunset. And there is something about it, like being in that position, that is attractive to me. But all the other things considered that I've said in this journal, I think I finally have the balance within me not to go towards the exciting thing, because I guarantee you, if I made all the concessions and compromises to put myself in that position again, where I've got this beautiful place looking over the ocean, just totally rocking it, everybody's like envying what they're seeing on my Instagram, that kind of lifestyle, I would get bored again. Like, it would be the exact same situation that I'm in right now. The only difference would be that everybody would think that I'm way happier than I am. That would be like, and it sucks when there's envy and judgment, and people just think like you're totally killing it at life when you're like, you're kind of just on your way to the next thing like everybody else. So I kind of really don't want that anymore. I don't want to compromise and like sacrifice so much to have a picture that looks really cool, because I know it doesn't do me any good. I wonder how the people who live there feel, like people who hosted that party. Like, are they on their way to the next thing? And how much are you carrying, and how much extra work are you doing to maintain and sustain these pictures that we're living in? That's really something that's changed my whole perspective, is like, how much effort do I need to put in to sustain what you're looking at, or like what I'm experiencing? And I no longer want to put in heaps of effort to sustain a picture that I'm not actually enjoying. Especially when I enjoyed last night. I enjoyed it so much. I didn't need to own that apartment. I didn't even need to rent that apartment. I didn't even need to stay there like for an overnight visit, like rent it like a hotel room. I was happy just being a witness to this thing that was happening for a couple of hours. I wasn't even there long. Just watching the sunset in this apartment was fine. Like, that was, I got the whole thrill of the experience that I was imagining, and I walked away, and I get to carry that with me. And that's another beautiful thing that I've learned. Like, and I've had the fortune as a filmmaker, just being behind the camera, of experiencing thousands of those moments that are just like once in a lifetime epic opportunities. But the difference is, back when I was a bit more young and naive, is every time it would happen, I would add it to my bucket list. I would be like, I need this to be a part of my lifestyle. I need absolutely every amazing thing that I've ever experienced to be my everyday. And it's absurd, man. I'm in a much better place now, just being able to be the witness, just go and enjoy these moments, and then continue on living my life, you know. And if I ever do have anything remotely close to that as my everyday living arrangement, it won't be because I have just totally sacrificed everything to have it. It'll be because I've generated so much abundance from being okay where I am right now, that I can actually afford it. Like, it's not a big deal. I can just have that. I can have the epic apartment, and then I can actually be there and be happy, and be on my way to the next thing. Like we all are. We're all on our way to the next thing, but I don't have this huge ball and chain that I'm dragging with me. It's like, there's no ball and chain. It's like, I can afford everything that I have, and I've created everything that I have with strong foundations that aren't going to crumble beneath me. I can continue from here. It's not like I'm not stressed about money and worried about my job or anything like that. Like, I can be here now and actually love this moment and just totally embrace like what's in front of me. That's where I want to be. If you get anything out of these videos, please pass them on to other people you know who might get some kind of something from these messages. Subscribe if you haven't already, and leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings as they're emerging after watching this.